Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Kat, and today we continue into part 2 of my conversation with the illustrious Mr. Trevor Blake, my mentor, visionary serial entrepreneur, and New York Times best-selling author. For those of you who hadn't listened to part 1, first of all, I truly would recommend that you do listen to part 1 at some point in time. It doesn't necessarily have to be before this episode, but I think that if you are in the space that you're an avid listener to our podcast, you will be illuminated by what Trevor has to share with us. Trevor, as you might recall, is a true maverick in the world of business, having founded, managed, and successfully sold 3 companies since 2003, amassing a staggering combined value of close to $1 billion. But what sets him apart, you guys, is his innovative approach, a business structure built on a model of alliances, fostering higher productivity, higher profitability, and flexibility. And so, in this part, we're going to dive deep into some of his keys to his success, as he's known for a particular model by which he builds his companies. It's called the Hub model, and he proves that you can start your venture without hiring a single employee. So we go into much, much more, but without further ado, let's dive right in. Companies now, one of the things that you're known for is that you have built 100 like 9-figure companies over and over and over again. Like it wasn't just like the one, time. You've done this 7 times, as you had mentioned, and not a single, and I might be, this might have changed, but you had mentioned that you're known for not having employees in your company. And so when you tell that to somebody, it's quite shocking because, like the immediate thing when people say the word company is that, oh, you got a bunch of employees, right? But what do you have instead? And I think this speaks to the hub model that you had developed, right? Can you share a little bit about that?
So today when people ask me about this, I wax lyrical about it. It makes me seem like a genius. But the truth is that when I started my first company, I didn't have any money. And therefore I couldn't afford to hire anybody. And so I had to come up with a new way. Like, what do they say? Like, necessity is the mother of invention. Right? So I had to invent a new business model that worked for me. And so I figured out, so the way it came about was in my regular career. I did quite well in a regular career. I had kind of a fast track career. I went from trainee sales rep to vice president of commercial development in 7 years, using the same formula that's in how I build the companies, that's in how transformation works. And so when I was VP of commercial development, I was always looking for easy and cheap ways of doing something rather than just trying to build it, because I'm basically lazy and I don't want to work 9-hour days. I like to lie on a hammock and watch the ocean. So I came up with the idea, okay, we'll go to these other companies that are experts in these different functions. And when we launch, we'll attach them to ourselves. Because we don't, and in a launch phase, you only need these people for a period of time, like 6 months. And then it takes off and it does its own thing. And then when I started my first company and I was thinking, oh God, I need a vice president of finance, I need a vice president of regulatory, I need someone in manufacturing, someone in distribution, someone in sales and marketing. And I was thinking, well, and I can't even afford to pay myself. I thought I'll have to do this a different way. So I went back to those companies that I'd worked with previously. And I said, instead of being a bolt on for a launch period, why don't you just be my function? We'll pay by volume. So for the, right now I don't have very much. So you only have to work 2 or 3 hours a month for me. And then as we grow, you'll work more and more, and we'll do a contract around that. And they loved the idea. And the reason they loved it was because they were fed up of not being seen. They're just they're a function. They're a contract sales organization or a contract regulatory organization, and no one respects them, and no one. They don't have ownership. They don't feel ownership. So I said to them, look, we'll do fee for service, but give me a really good price. Give me a 6-month period where I don't have to pay you a penny. Prove your worth. Then you charge me. When we're successful, I'll give you a piece of the profit. And we set that up in a contract. And I did that with every function. And so I think the first time I did it, there were about 9 different vendors, and I call it the hub model. There are like 9 different vendors. And what I liked about it was, previously in my fast track career, my regular career, I spent all my time supervising people. And I spent all my time holding the hands of disgruntled employees. Not necessarily disgruntled at me, but disgruntled about something. And it's exhausting. And I spent most of my time sitting in a meeting room talking about anything but customer satisfaction or product involvement or anything like that. It was all about how to keep employees happy. And I call it in my blogs and the rest of it, the internal whirlpool. We lose sight of what's outside our window, which is where we're supposed to be focused, and we become internal eventually over time. And this internal whirlpool, all our energy goes into us to make us happy. And so I decided I set the hub model up, and I suddenly realized that I didn't need to be a supervisor anymore, because these people are really good at what they do. And they actually don't want me looking over the shoulder, and they certainly don't want me picking the phone up and saying, "Are we there yet?"
Right.
Yeah, when I first started, that's what I did. I was thinking, I must be doing this wrong because there's nothing to do. And I pick the phone up and say, "Hey, how's it going?" You know, and it would turn out to be, they would say, "Oh God, he's on the phone again." And the light switch finally came on when, after about, in Qual Medical, my first company, after about 4 or 5 months, I decided I needed to go back to the UK to visit families. Something was going on, and I hadn't been for a long time. And I was terrified of going because I'm running a company, and how can I do this? This is in the days when cell phones weren't like they were today. Like, I mean, going to England, you had to switch carriers, and it didn't work. And I remember, so I went to London, and I could receive information, but there was no information coming in, but I couldn't give information out. So I felt really isolated. So after 3 weeks, I was panicking when I got back to America, thinking, "Oh, the company's got to be, it's finished, right? There's going to be so many fires that things burned down." And when I got back to America, and I started to contact my vendors to say, "Hey, how's it going?" And they said, "Fine, it's going fine." And I said, "Well, I've been away for 3 weeks." They hadn't even noticed I'd gone. And so what a light switch that was. Like, wow, the company runs itself. As long as I set it up right, as long as I use my intuition to get the right vendors, as long as I set it up well, I can go on holiday. I can go travel. And the proof of the pudding is always in the eating of it, right? So I have 2 companies right now. So all my companies are gone except for 2 companies, including my animal sanctuary, except for 2 companies. And I'm running these 2 companies, but I'm going on 2 consecutive world cruises while I'm running them. 6 months and 6 months. That's the beauty of the hub model. 6 months and 6 months, yeah.
Wow.
And so that's the beauty of the hub model, is that you can run it from anywhere. It's like spinning plates. You just spin them a little bit. And the spinning with the hub model is that I make sure that they get to experience and share in the rewards of what we do. So not just the material rewards. So of course they get profit share and all the rest of it, which is very nice. But they also get the customer stories. They also get when customers send me emails saying, "This is fantastic, yada yada yada," and all the rest of it. It's beautiful when you get those emails. I share that with everybody, because it doesn't matter what part you play, whether it's 1 hour a month or 100 hours a month. You made that happen. You are as much a part of this as anybody, and probably more a part of it than I am. I just set it up. And so I find that's very important in the hub model. That what we do as an entrepreneur is, I've taken my natural supervisory mentality and replaced it with a peer-to-peer trust. And that's a lovely way of working. It's like a group of equals. Like, I know you know what you're doing. I trust you to do it. When you've done it, let me know and I'll give you the money. And it's just such a lovely way of working. And it allows us to have balance in our lives. Because if you try to do it the supervisory way, the old hierarchical, the old, what we used to call masculine energy way, then you're going to have to work 12, 14 hours a day, and it's very stressful. And your life will suffer as a result. You will probably be successful, but you might also be on your 3rd marriage and your dogs don't even know who you are anymore. Whereas with the hub model, I find it's success with balance. You have great relationships, great lifestyle, and a successful business. So I can't compare myself to Elon Musk, but I read his autobiography a couple of weeks ago, and he's the supervisory model, and very successful, incredible, brilliant man. But he spent night after night projectile vomiting from stress. It's in his biography.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want that lifestyle. His relationships, in his words, so I'm not talking behind his back, his relationships are disastrous, a mess. I don't want that in my life. I want a comfortable life. I want to be with somebody who inspires me to be better today than I was yesterday. And that's the balance I talk about. Success with balance. I don't think everybody needs to be a multi-billionaire like an Elon Musk. And to be a multi-billionaire like him, you're going to have to go in that other direction. I think for most people, a few hundred million is probably sufficient for a life. And so you don't have to do it that way. You can do it this way, which is very comfortable, a little lazy, a lot of fun. I spend more time walking than I do anything else. So I walk everywhere. So, or Jess and I walk everywhere. So, if you can have a life where you spend 4 hours of your workday walking, that's a pretty good life.
4 hours a day walking.
Oh yeah. Oh
wow.
Yeah, easily, yeah.
Wow, that is a game changer. That's truly a game changer. So I have a question actually, and this might come from the selfish point of view, but this hub model, first of all, do you ever graduate, do you ever move out of it into, I feel like the answer would be no. It would always be like your company is always based on the hub model, where you you contract professional vendors in each of their areas, be it in finance. So I'm assuming that even part of the back office, like finance and marketing or whatever, is all outsourced to professional vendors. Do you find that that's less?
Met them.
Sorry?
I've never met them.
You've never met them? Oh.
My finance people, they live in Texas. It's a long way from where I am. It's a 4-hour flight, which I'm not going to take it. They were a really small company when I first contacted them and said, would you like to be my finance people? And they said, yeah, because we need clients, right? So yes, thank you. So I got really good terms. My main contact there, Diane, was just about to get married. She now has grandchildren. I've still never met her face to face. That's how the hub model works. And yet we feel like family. We contact each other regularly. So we feel like family. So the beauty of the hub model is the world and technology allows us to connect with people all over the world without actually having ever to be physically present. But our energy, so as a physicist, there's a thing called quantum entanglement, which means that when two particles come together, they remain together forever, regardless of time or distance. And I find if I think that way with the hub model, with the humans, and it would be the same as you and I. And now we've connected here live. I'm looking into your eyes, you're looking into my eyes. We will always be connected forever, right? Through time. And so that works with the hub model too. And it's a beautiful way to work. So with the hub model, it feels like they're all family, even though most of them I've never met, if that makes sense.
What happens if they leave? Because they would, okay, so the number one argument, well, perhaps not the number one, but one of the arguments is that, I need an employee because contractors can leave very easily. Do you have that? I mean, clearly it doesn't seem that you have that issue if your finance people have, you hired them before they got married and now they have grandchildren. So they've been with you a long time.
So that's the advantage of the hub model, or one of the many advantages of the hub model. So and not every country is the same, but in America, it's very difficult to fire people. Very, very difficult. So in my regular career, I found myself with some people that really clearly were not up to the challenge of the job. But I couldn't just get rid of them and get somebody else. Human resources were all over me saying, you need to give them extra training, you need to spend more extra time with them, you need to do this, you need to do that. We have a process, and it goes on and on and on. And when it didn't work out, I ended up in a tribunal in front of a panel of judges. And it's so that's such a stressful thing, and it's so complicated. With vendors, if it doesn't work out, you just don't sign the contract when it comes around for renewal.
Right.
And you go and go find another vendor. I've just done it. So with TrevorGBlake.com, I've had a vendor who's been with me for 5 years. We're very close I have met them face to face once. And it was 2 years ago. Actually, it's a good story. So 2 years ago, they're in Canada, and I went up. I said, "Look, we've been working together 2.5 years. We've never even actually met. I'm going to come up and say hello." But I had an alternative reason for going. When I came back, I married that alternative reason for going. So, and this person lived in the same building as where my vendor was. So I went up and we met and all the rest of it, and they took me on a Saturday to their family, and we sat in the back garden around a fire and had an amazing day. So they will always be friends and they will always be family. But from a work standpoint, it got to the point up to 2 weeks ago where something happened and there has to be a consequence. And I said, I'm sorry, we have to part our ways. We're still best friends. We're still talking all the time. We have this amazing relationship. With employees, that's really difficult, because if it's not working out with an employee and you end up having to fire an employee, and you're allowed to fire an employee, they will never ever talk to you again as long as you live.
Right.
And I don't like that. I like it with vendors. They say, yeah, okay, we served our purpose for that period of your growth, and we'll be forever grateful for that. And we made a ton of money as well. What's next? Do you have any other projects we can work on together? So it's it's a much more mature relationship, and that's what I like.
Right, right. That's interesting. Do you think that it would depend on the revenue model that so for example, I have a consulting group and we bill hourly rates, right? And so obviously, if you hire an employee, it would be more profitable than if you were to hire a contractor who charges a higher rate. Do you think that would be a barrier, or?
Yeah, I think there's a period of time where the hub model works best and is most
Mm,
profitable. And then I think as you grow, and that's why I exit, okay, because I know, so I think I know my own strengths. I get bored easily, so I know I'm good at, this is a great idea, let's build it. And then a couple of years later, I'm bored of this idea, how can I get rid of it? And that's my personality, and so that's why I exit. So I build and exit. But I think if you are someone who is different and you're a builder and a maintainer, then you get to a certain size where the economics of having a hub model no longer outweigh the economics of having employees. That's for
right.
sure. And it's interesting that my first company, I had no employees and built it from nothing to that level. And then when I sold it, the Cooper Capital, it's still online, you can check them out. So Cooper Capital bought it, and they immediately started hiring. And now they have 63 employees. And
Gotcha.
I don't know that their numbers are any better than they were when I had no employees, but the guy that bought the company, Derek, he and I are friends, but his personality is he likes to be in charge of people.
Mm, and
He likes,
develop people.
no, not even develop, he just likes to be the boss.
Ah,
He likes to be seen as the boss. It's just his thing. I'm not
gotcha.
judging it. Just his thing. But if you can put that, that ego aside, then you can have a profitable company up to a point in time, and then
Right.
yes, it makes more economic sense to have employees.
Okay, gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. I want to be respectful of your time, and so I know that you have a lot of transformational personal development programs as a part of Trevor G. Blake. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's a good question, Kat, because I don't believe it's possible to transform one's life without transforming oneself.
Hmm.
They go hand in hand. And so I have the transformation experience, which is a journey to remembering the potential power and imagination we had when we were kids, and bringing it into the adult world, and then becoming who you were meant to be instead of becoming this reflection of yourself, of oneself. So the transformation experience it's quantum physics. Um, it's about learning how to play with energy in a different way, so you get the journey back to who you were supposed to be. So you can be the individual again, you can be the powerful person. Everyone's designed to be spectacular, but it gets kind of pressed out of us sometimes by life, by society, by schooling, by parenting, by religions, all that of it. So sometimes we become a vague shadow of ourselves. So it's about journeying back to being that beautiful star that we are, and then expressing that. And thousands of people have gone through it. How do I, the best, so I don't do it for money, I do it because it's the right thing to do. But the best thing about it is that a lot of people who've gone through transformation experience have ended up working with, and we have some spectacular adventures.
Part of the hub model. Part of the hub
Yeah, and
model, or are
so
you?
no, so that's different.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of a way to express it. The best way to express it is that I've been running the transformation experience since I wrote 3 Simple Steps, so 2012. Not a single person in all that time has ever said it didn't work or has ever asked for the money back. That's the power of the transformation experience. So it will transform you into a place where you feel, okay, I can create my life. The life I thought I could create when I was 5, I think I can create now that I'm 55. And then next to that is, if you decide with that power that you want to have your own venture, there's based on my book, Secrets to a Successful Startup, there's a course called Start, Survive, Thrive, and it gives you step by step everything you need to do to get a winning idea, and then to turn a winning idea into a real thing, and then take this real thing and put yourself in a model whereby you've got a good chance of surviving, because most companies don't, and then take off. Because for me, somebody told me a long time ago, the secret to success in business is to survive long enough to hit a home run. You'll always get an opportunity for a home run, but you have to survive long enough. And I offer that advice to you too, Kat. That's come into my head, and I know that resonates with you. Survive long enough, you will hit a home run at some point. You just have to be there.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like it should be several home runs.
Well, once you get the
It
first
starts with
one,
one.
it's easy after that. It's easy after that because you know what you're doing. It's good.
That's right. And so who would you recommend take the transformational experience versus the secrets of the the survive, thrives?
Yes, start,
The
survive,
second.
thrive.
Yes.
I obviously like a lot of S words and things I do. 3 simple steps: start, survive, thrive.
Right.
So it's interesting. So for transformation, it's for everybody, and I know that's not a good avatar. Everyone says who
Everyone's the
It's
avatar.
actually everyone. And you know, for me, the most common. So for me, 2 things happen. There's people who want to do their own thing, but they lack confidence, and so transformation gives you the confidence. The secrets of success are not what people think they are. It's self-confidence and a tendency to set big targets. And so people don't know that, and so they say, help me, I want to do my own thing, I want to be my own boss, I want to be my own thing. So that's one demographic. The other demographic is one that I've always felt a great deal of empathy to, because I was lucky enough to benefit from them doing this for me. And that is the person who gave up their dreams in order to raise a family. And then when the family leaves, now they enter a world that's so much more technological than they ever imagined when they gave up they gave up their dreams 20 years ago. And now they've got to be out in the world with all of this social media and all this digital marketing and all of this, and it's so stressful and so overwhelming. And I don't want to give it a gender, but typically that's going to be a woman, but not always. And so it's to transform yourself so you can put yourself in a position where now you can face this new world, the world you have kind of turned, you gave up your dreams to help your family be successful. And now you want to be successful yourself, but it's overwhelming. It'll give you the confidence to take that on. And that's actually a huge part of the transformation experience. On the start, survive, and thrive, it's basically for anyone who wants to be their own boss in any venture, arts, commerce, doesn't mean, whatever you want. Just need to know the steps.
Right.
Like a lot of people say, I've got this great idea, but I don't know what to do with it. So here's the answer, step by step by step.
Right. Amazing. And that's regardless of whatever industry it is, really.
Yeah, I'd say a third of the people in Start, Survive, Thrive are artists.
Really?
Yeah, because the challenge. So my wife Jess is an artist, and the challenge with art and writing and animation and stuff is that the world doesn't pay enough for it. So if I start a pharmaceutical company, the world's going to pay me millions, right? But if I start an art company, the world's not going to pay me very much. So it's about building pricing models and about having the confidence to understand licensing rather than selling, and how to use the NFT model to have a continuous river of income, instead of just saying, okay, I've painted something and I'll put it in the gallery, and the gallery takes 50% of the commission. It's looking at your talent in a different way and extrapolating from that the price which you are worth.
Right.
Very powerful,
Right.
right?
The NFT. Okay, there are so many more questions that I would like to ask you, but I can't. I want to be respectful of your time. So in the wee moments that I'm going to still grab your time, you had mentioned movies at the beginning of the conversation. Can you share a little bit about that? That is a surprise to me.
It's something I've always done. So I wrote my first play when I was 7, and it wasn't very good, but I did it because the price I got for that was that the girl I was trying to impress promised to show me her red knickers if I play for her. And so that was my first endeavor into, wow, writing really works. So I'm not somebody who likes to sit on planes and watch movies or stare out the window or do stuff. So when I was traveling on planes, when I was a road warrior, I would write screenplays because I love screenplays. I love the rhythm of them. I love the arcing of them. And I found that thinking that way really helped me in business too, that I could understand the story of the business. Everything's storytelling. Everything in, I think anyway, everything in the universe is storytelling. And if we learn to tell a story in a good way, in a business, we can have a great business. In art, we can have beautiful art. And so I've never been trained and I never went to school, but I kind of learned to write the arcs of movies. And at first I was horrible at it and I would send them away and I got rejected, 50 times. And then I started to harness my craft a little bit and it was really relaxing for me in between my fast track career travel. So I went to a Colorado Film Festival, an Arizona Film Festival, and lo and behold, I won Best Screenplay.
Oh my gosh.
So in those days, the way it worked is a bit like what Netflix did when it first came out, and Prime Video when they first came out. But in those days, the directors who were swimming around this place looking for talent would come to you and say, "We'll give you $10,000 to option it." Well, in those days, $10,000 was a ton of money to me. So I optioned my screenplays out, and I would get 10,000 for the option, and then a further 10,000 if they actually made it into a movie. So and they did. I got 20,000 for both these movies, and then one day the second movie won an Oscar.
Oh my gosh!
I know, that was what I said. Like, why did I sell that? Why did I give that away? And so after that, I decided to write just for myself. And so I have one of my companies that Jess and I have is a media company. So we have my latest screenplay. It's called Audrey. It's based on the first chapter of 3 Simple Steps. So it's my mother's story, and it's beautiful. It's the best thing I've ever written. But I'm going to hold this one. So we're going to make this into a movie ourselves. It'll be our first product from our new media company.
Oh my goodness, that is absolutely amazing. You never cease to astound me.
It's just fun, right? I'm playing.
So true.
I'm playing at movies. And it is, I got to tell you, it is so much fun. There are so many mad people in the movie business. It's a delight to be around. They're absolutely bonkers.
That is amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Trevor, for joining us in this absolutely illuminating discussion of career and transformation and building the confidence that you want to have in when you want to do what you've been called to do but never had the chance to do so. Thank you so much for all of your insight. You, as I mentioned before, you have been instrumental in the way I think and in the way I formulate my life and my business. Any final words for our audience?
I'll use the same words that you used, and I love the fact that you could paraphrase my. So I don't believe in mission, vision, values in companies, but so I have the same mantra they use in everything, and it's make a positive difference in someone's life. Have fun doing it. What's the point of it? Have fun doing it, and sharing all the rewards, material and otherwise, that come naturally as a result of setting that energy in motion.